Alright, so it's been a couple weeks since my last video, and I haven't made any real big obvious moves on the layout recently. Uh, Other than there is a little bit cleaner and now it's wired. So let's just run you through what's changed in the last couple weeks. I didn't take any video of it because it was just a lot of hand soldering and stuff like that, but I'll kind of show you what I've kind of been going through and see how that kind of comes out. So I thought I'd just start this video off with kind of a quick loop around what has changed up here. Obviously, before this power station wasn't up here. This is eventually going to be a power plant. It's a Walthers kit. It's got a smokestack that I just don't have sitting here right now, and some other details that kind of have to fix along the way. So this is going to have a lot of the coal and stuff like this. So these are actually Atlas / BLMA Top Guns from Norfolk Southern. If you'd like to know more about that, just drop a comment and I'll kind of fill in some information on that. They're pretty common. These coal loads were made by a friend of mine. So you can kind of see here, I have this spur track here. I don't know what that's going to be for, and these two spur tracks that'll ultimately just kind of feed into this power plant. And this yard will kind of be like the holding for stuff before it gets pushed in here, and for empties. Have some Norfolk Southern Jeeps. They're just hanging out. I'm not really doing anything, more for show than anything. Coming around. So I started the foam work here. More foam work needs to be done. Obviously I got kind of a gap right here, but so it's kind of started just to support these bridges. Eventually this will be a creek. Coming around, still waiting on the crossing here that will kind of tie that track over to that one, and then that track over to here. So obviously this was all new, and this does actually complete the circuit around, and then back over to Champion, and then into Bristolville here. So not really much has changed here, other than I put the switch stands here, or the ground throws I should say, for the turnouts. So these turnouts don't have any sort of springs in them, so they're actually just kind of held by this physical thing, a little ground throw. Want to know more about the ground throws, just hit me up a comment. Maybe I'll make a video out of them. Just in general, they're pretty easy to install, but if you've never seen them before, they can be a little daunting, right? And I just have some other stuff out on the layout. So yeah, that's where I'm at on the layout right now. I really didn't video any of the wiring bits, just because I have a lot more wiring that's gonna get done on this thing. All of this bottom level here, as I drop down, all this bottom level is eventually gonna be covered in track. So it's all gonna get wired. So one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about that I didn't really talk about too much in the first video was kind of what's going to be going on down here, and what I've done really so far here has mostly been under the table. So here is going to be a lot of staging. You can kind of see my saw here. I'll move that out of the way. This is going to be a staging yard here. So I don't know how many tracks I'm going to fit in here, but it's probably going to be a bunch, and then that'll roll out. So underneath the table here, what I've done mostly is, so you'll see that there's some lights there. I'll actually go ahead and turn that off so you can see it a little better. But so each one of these lights is just a simple little shop light. It wires in these outlets that I have wired up, and each table actually have its own outlet. And this is kind of what I've been doing underneath the table here. So there's the wiring that goes there. So it comes up. Each one of these goes to a different spot on the track. And then basically I have it kind of split out where there's two halves of the table. Whichever one's closer goes to a generic feeder that comes to the bus. And then the bus splits off. And you'll see it kind of comes around to the next one, right? And that light's kind of a little bright there. But basically, a lot of what I've been doing here has just been kind of this repetitive task of getting these wires to go to the actual drops out of the bottom, and kind of heat shrink tubing them all together to make them look clean and keep them nice and tidy. So you can kind of see some of the tools I'm working with. Got my soldering iron, heat gun there for everything. Gold, also known as Clorox wipes. Right, so just kind of, so the idea here is there'll actually be 2 more lights underneath this table. This is just going to be able to light up this entire bottom deck. It's a little bright right now, because up there I hope to have track lighting eventually, but I don't yet. As far as like things going forward, obviously got foam over this. That's for me to actually do some stuff. I'll probably be doing like that scenery eventually. I think the track lights are going to go in first, just because if I start doing scenery, I'm going to mess it up as soon as I gotta put these track lights in. But yeah, and kind of cleaning up in here, getting it nice, just so it's easier to work in. Like I said, if you have any comments, questions, go ahead and drop me a comment down at the bottom, and drop a like if you enjoy the video. All right, I'll see you on the next one.